Good evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Andrew Laidley. No government agency has taken responsibility yet for the traffic pileup on the Palisades Strip yesterday evening. The chaos resulted in several passengers missing their flights out of the Norman Manley International Airport. The traffic jam was caused by patrons attending the New Year's Day party Sands. Anthony Morgan reports.
The Palisades Road, which leads to the Norman Manley International Airport (NMIA), was a scene of chaos last night as scores of partygoers caused a traffic pileup along the roadway. The incident left many people complaining about getting to the airport on time for their flights, with a few even missing them. In a release today, Entertainment Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange made it clear that the blame for the pileup should not be placed on her ministry. She argued that the declaration of Fort Rocky as an entertainment zone is restricted to the specific location known as Fort Rocky, which are the ruins of the fort that was constructed after World War II. She said the declaration does not include any other place, including the Palisades Road, Gunboat Beach, or anywhere along the corridor leading to the Norman Manley International Airport. The minister added that the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport does not grant permits or licenses for the staging of entertainment events, which she said are dealt with by the relevant municipal corporation and the police. But Mayor of Kingston, Delroy Williams, isn't taking blame for the chaos either. He is defending the municipal corporation's decision to issue the amusement license to have the party staged at the location. He said that the license was granted on the basis of an agreement between the party promoter and the Norman Manley International Airport (NMIA).
Norman Manley International Airport would be, of major concern there. And as I've said that, the Norman Manley International Airport was, comfortable, gave their consent to the event and also entered into an arrangement with the promoter to provide, to make available their parking facility to the promoter, and a shuttle system was, put in place. And so when we saw that kind of arrangement, we were satisfied in terms of the issue, but we did also make it very clear to the promoter that no parking should take place along the Palisades main road.
In the meantime, the mayor said he cannot speak to any compensation for travelers affected during the traffic jam.
I wouldn't really want to get into that. That is not something that you really would expect that we would get into. Our issue is that, when we are approached for, when an application comes to us for an amusement license, and we get hundreds of those, on a monthly basis. And close to 100 are suffered. And depending on the season, we evaluate each, and we we issue the amusement license after making certain checks and after satisfying ourselves that the things are in.
Meanwhile, National Security Minister Robert Montague today asked the Police Commissioner George Quayler to provide him with a report by this afternoon on the circumstances surrounding last evening's activities. But up to news time, there was no word on the report, which Minister Montague said he would make public. The minister had asked the commissioner to outline the conditions surrounding the issuing of the permit, the policing plan that was put in place for the event, and the steps that will be taken to hold someone accountable. Earlier today, Commissioner Quayler tweeted that the traffic pileup was an embarrassment to the Jamaica Constabulary Force. For BATV News, I'm Anthony Morgan.
The Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE, wants the government to revise the wage to GDP target. This is the second group within recent days to ask the government to revise the figure. Currently, the government has an agreement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to reduce the wage to GDP ratio to 9% by 2019. But many are arguing that that target is too ambitious. Here's more.
President of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE, Vincent Morrison, says he will not accept the government's claim that the 9% wage to GDP target cannot be revised. Mr. Morrison argues that the target was set by the government in the first place without proper consultation.
To say that we have an IMF agreement with the wage to the GDP, and that target cannot be changed or revised is absolutely rubbish. And the workers that we represent in the UK's Magna unit at Petrojam, at the Financial Services Commission, among a number of places, UDC, we are not going to accept.
So what exactly is he suggesting the figure be revised to?
We would believe that if the government could move the first year to about 7%, with some sort of lump sum payment, maybe a $50,000-$60,000 lump sum payment thrown in, and the second year at another 5% with another $50,000-$60,000 thrown in, and for those percentage movements to apply across the board and all payroll matters, all fringe benefits.
Meanwhile, the trade unionist is calling on the finance minister to explain to the country why he decided to reduce the wage to GDP to 9% as opposed to any other figure.
How do you arrive at the 9%? That is what a lot of people don't know, right? Can the Minister of Finance explain why 9%? Why is it not 15%? Why not 16%? Why these why is it that we indicate as a country to the IMF that we can sell 3% in year one and 3% in year two?
In the meantime, Mr. Morrison says the new year finds members of the public sector in a precarious position.
It is not going to be business as usual going forward. At the same time, what been hearing is that there may be a 15,000 cut in the public sector. So at the same time, you're saying they can't get no wage increase. Attempts are being made to lay off workers in the sector by way of retrenchment.
Mr. Morrison says if the government doesn't solve wage negotiations soon, he's promising total shutdown of operations in various workplaces.
We are not going to go and seek out, right? We are going to shut the facilities down, period, until we get a settlement. That is our position.
For BATV News, I'm Andrew Laidley.
Meanwhile, Vincent Morrison is advising the government to treat police wage negotiations differently. He says the police cannot be treated like other public sector workers.
Want to suggest to the government that they must take the negotiations for the police out of the normal public sector mix. We are prepared to give 100% support to that position because we know that a lot of things that is happening, if you're going to want to motivate the police to assist in solving the crime problem in the country, you have to give them better terms and conditions. And what we are saying is that the present levels that the police pay levels that the police are getting is scandalous.
In the meantime, the Office of the Prime Minister has released Prime Minister Holness's letter to the Police Federation. In the letter, the Prime Minister pointed out that he has been discussing with Ministers Shaw and Montague the issues raised by the Police Federation, both in its letter to him and in the public domain. However, the Prime Minister said there needs to be a much broader discussion with the Cabinet and the Finance Minister because of the far-reaching implications of the issues to be addressed. He said Cabinet will meet next Monday, where the issue will be discussed further and the negotiation team advised of the outcomes. The Police Federation has been agitating in the past weeks for increased wages for its members. The Federation has so far rejected the government's offer of a 6% increase over 2 years. And the teachers will be heading back to talks with the Finance Ministry tomorrow morning. The Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, says it hopes the negotiations this time around will be more fruitful for its members.
I'd like to inform my colleague teachers right across Jamaica that the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service has invited us back to the negotiating table tomorrow morning. And colleagues, I recognize that anxiety has been growing, and we are very aware of the mood on the ground that you've become very restive, but we look forward to tomorrow's discussions with great anticipation. And it is our hope that in a very serious way, we'll be able to advance the discussions in the interest of our members and in the interest of Jamaica as a whole.
With a new year comes lots of hope and promises, and that's exactly what came from our nation's leaders in their New Year's Day messages. Dylan Bowes reports.
In his New Year's Day message, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said despite some of the challenges faced in 2017, the country has experienced increased economic growth. He pointed to the introduction of liquefied natural gas, the newly built solar plants, and the restoration of Alpart as major contributors to the boosting of Jamaica's growth rate. The Prime Minister says in 2018 there will be new policies to intensify the pace of public sector reforms and expansion of private and public sector corporations.
In 2018, the government will intensify the pace of public sector reform, the objective of which is not to separate workers from their jobs. The objective is to make jobs more relevant and supportive of the economic growth agenda, to make workers more productive and efficient, and maximize the return on the wage expenditure. Ultimately, this will create an environment where there is greater job creation, particularly in the private sector, and greater economic expansion generally, for all to benefit.
He said there will also be new legislations to strengthen the zones of special operations.
This year, the government intends to table new legislation to define a transformed police service. This new legislation will replace the current JCF Act and focus, among other things, on preserving the integrity of the men and women who serve, to ensure that corruption within the ranks of the police services does not compromise the ability of the force to fight crime. We will also pass the MOCA Act and table the National Security Act, which will create a more coordinated framework for all agencies operating within the national security space.
Meanwhile, in his New Year's Day address, opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips charged the government to do more to solve the crime problem and settle outstanding public sector wage negotiations.
Economic growth rates remain below expectations, and the incomes of many workers, especially those in the public sector, have stagnated. I think I speak for the majority of well-thinking Jamaicans in expressing hope that the wage negotiations between the government and the public sector workers, including the police, teachers, and health workers, will be speedily concluded on the basis of mutual respect and realism.
In the meantime, Governor General, His Excellency Sir Patrick Allen, said he's expecting greater things for the new year as he hopes individuals will legitimately achieve their dreams and aspirations. For BATV News, I'm Dylan Bowes.
Still to come, Nutramix lands regional distribution deal. We'll tell you more after the break. Welcome back. Farmers in Jamaica and the Caribbean now have easier access to cattle genetics as Nutramix has been named the exclusive distributor of select Sayers genetic semen. Javon Keys has more.
For years, US-based Select Sires has been engineering cattle genes to improve productivity and profitability for dairy and beef farmers. Farmers in Jamaica and the Caribbean are now able to benefit from these solutions. Nutramix has forged a partnership with Select Sires to be the exclusive distributor of the company's genetic semen in the Caribbean. According to Livestock and Support Manager at Nutramix, Dr. Gabrielle Young, the partnership will give farmers greater access to a wider variety of semen from different breeds.
Nutramix has partnered with Select Sires as a distributor for cattle semen in Jamaica and the Caribbean. Select Sires has cattle semen for both dairy and beef breeds. Select Sires is home to half of the cattle industry's top 100 sires. We will offer industry-leading sires in the most popular breeds, including for dairy farmers, the Jersey, Holstein, and Brown Swiss breeds. For the beef breeds, Red Pole, Black Angus, Red Angus, and the Brahman.
The availability of these cattle genetics on the market will allow farmers to enhance the traits they see fit in their herds.
Farmers can pick and choose the traits that matter most to his farm and focus on those. We can guarantee improvement in your herd performance.
Along with specific traits, farmers will also be able to access sexed semen, which will increase the probability of heifers having calves of a desired sex by 90%.
Locally, we already have offspring from the Select Sires semen, and these offspring are performing at the top levels compared with elsewhere. The partnership will offer for the first time in Jamaica sexed semen. Sexed semen is a semen that will guarantee the farmer a 90% chance that the calf will be born in the chosen sex.
Meanwhile, Dr. Young has also noted that for us to see growth in the agricultural sector both locally and regionally, improved genetics must be available.
The only way for agriculture and the livestock industry specifically to grow in Jamaica and CARICOM is for the availability of improved genetics that produce animals that are efficient.
Farmers will have to pay between $800 and $2,000 Jamaican dollars for regular semen straws, while sexed semen will cost from $6,000 to $8,000. For BATV News, I'm Javon Keys.
On Friday, Alpart, under its new ownership arrangement, shipped its first cargo of alumina produced at the St. Elizabeth refinery. This is the first shipment by Alpart since it ceased operations in 2009. The company was acquired by the Chinese-owned Jiquan Iron and Steel Company Jisco Limited and resumed operations in June 2017. The shipment, totaling 35,000 tons of alumina, left Port Kaiser at Alligator Pond, destined for China. Jisco paid US $299 million to acquire Alpart and spent more than $60 million to facilitate its reopening. Transport and Mining Minister Mike Henry, who was on hand for the cargo's departure, said Jisco, in the partnership with the workers of St. Elizabeth and Manchester, have enabled the bauxite industry in that region of the country to become like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The minister pointed out that the restart of operations at Alpart is a partnership between the government, the people of Jamaica, and Jisco, which sees the government providing the legislative and policy platform and the Jamaican employees providing the requisite services and expertise to make the investment worthwhile. Transport and Mining Minister Mike Henry says Jamaica's re-election to the influential Council of the International Maritime Organization, IMO, will facilitate the country's expansion into the shipping industry. He says the expansion of the Panama Canal has made the movement of larger ships into Jamaican waters possible and is an important step towards the country becoming a logistics center. He notes that Jamaica's re-election was timely, as the government is serious about developing Jamaica's maritime industry to facilitate critically important investment milestones. Jamaica secured a place on the council following its successful election at the 30th session of the IMO's General Assembly held at its headquarters in London on December 1. Jamaica received 120 of 159 valid votes cast in the highly competitive elections to join 19 other member states that were elected to Category C of the Council for the 2018-2020 biennium. The Council is the executive arm of the IMO and is responsible under the Assembly for supervising the work of the organization. Category C comprises 20 states that have special interest in maritime transport or navigation and whose election to the Council will ensure the representation of all major geographic regions of the world. Jamaica's membership in Category C also enhances the country's capacity and that of the region to contribute to major policy decisions, rulemaking, and the development of standards. Stay with us. Regional and international stories are next. Welcome back. It's time now for regional and international news. With the new year comes a renewed effort in the Bahamas to deport illegal immigrants. The government gave them until December 31, 2017 to regularize their status or leave the country. But even up until the last minute, most of the illegal Haitians living in the Bahamas made little to no effort to become legal. More in this report.
It appears a warning to the illegal community to either pack up and leave the country or regularize themselves is falling on deaf ears. Haitian community activist Luby George is telling us that the group that has heeded to the call is small.
There have been some individuals who have, taken heed to the deadline, the warning or the announcement, and have actually, wound up their affairs here in the Bahamas and left home. Yes. Is it in great numbers? No, but there have been a few.
Georgia says for many of these illegals, which are in the thousands, coming here was a matter of surviving life, and they aren't prepared to just give it all up and leave.
These are persons, you're talking about people who literally risked their lives, to come on over to the Bahamas because we have a better economy. There's an opportunity for them to find work, maybe. They can get the almighty American dollar and be able to assist their families back home. And so, they took a chance and risked their lives on the open seas to get here. I think, maybe a lot of them, their mindset is, I'll take my chance.
And taking their chances, they will. According to Georges, these persons say facing the law is something they will risk.
If I'm arrested and I'm going to be deported, I'm only going to be sent home. So I'd rather take my chances. Again, we say, if you really think about it, these are people that literally risk their lives on the open seas. I mean, the mindset may be for some, what's the worst that can happen?
And it's not a matter of not knowing. The message by the Prime Minister has gotten into the Haitian communities.
From day one, I'm in some WhatsApp groups, I listen to some radio shows, you move about in the community, you go to the restaurants or maybe, the bars, go into some of the villages. I've, visited Abaco recently, Eleuthera, and so, the message has reached the community.
Georgia say while they understand that all illegals will be pursued, he's hoping they will be treated humanely. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
The discovery of gold in 19th century California brought gold diggers rushing to the state, hoping to strike it rich. Recently, heavy rains in California has washed away tons of gravel, exposing the gold and drawing back the prospectors. Al Jazeera's Rob Reynolds reports from near Columbia, California.
Deep in these rugged hills and plunging valleys, a new age of gold has dawned, and modern-day prospectors are on the march in search of the glint of glittering gold.
There's still gold in them thar hills. There's a lot of gold out here.
Members of the Delta Gold Diggers Club are panning and pounding, hammering and digging, sluicing and sloshing in ice-cold California streams. In years past, the gold was hidden beneath tons of gravel built up in the stream beds. But furious rainstorms and floods earlier this year changed that virtually overnight.
The rains scoured these canyons and made gold easier to find.
You had to work for an hour or so before to just get down to the bedrock. And I could start moving that bedrock around, breaking it apart, and getting the dirt that has sunk in over thousands of years and get the gold that's in those cracks.
Hours of work shifting boulders earned Mike Steele a golden reward worth about $20. This is the heart of the historic California gold rush country. The discovery of gold here in 1848 set off an unprecedented global mass movement of people. Sailboats, steamships, and horse-drawn wagons brought 300,000 gold-crazy migrants from the eastern U.S., Europe, and from as far away as China and Chile. The surge of gold stimulated economic growth around the world, but the influx of miners devastated Native American tribes in the region. Gary Taylor understands what brought the hordes to California nearly 170 years ago.
Oh, you get that gold fever if you find some. Then it is kind of that way. Then it keeps you going. You find a little bit and think, okay, let's come back and we'll find some more.
Jay Randall struck gold. Not much, it's true.
It's just a little tiny speck, and that's not exactly what we're looking for.
but he's perfectly happy anyway.
I just like to get out and, see if you can find something.
Kathleen Borby hasn't found any gold, but she's having fun.
Getting out in the forest and digging around in the dirt, It's kind of like making mud pies.
Gold fever, still alive and well in the California hills. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, near Columbia, California.
Mauritania introduced a new currency yesterday. The change is aimed at reducing forgery. Here's more.
It still goes by the same name, but the Uguia no longer has the same value. As of the 1st of January 2018, the currency drops a zero, meaning 10 old Uguias equal 1 new Uguia. New polymer banknotes have come into circulation, forcing banks to open their doors especially on New Year's Day. Mauritania's central bank hopes to phase out all old banknotes over the next 6 months, starting with the largest denomination of 5,000 Uguias. For some, it's a welcome change.
I'm really happy about all of this, to be a part of Mauritania's history. The new currency, I think, is a great initiative for all of us citizens.
The government says the move aims to protect purchasing power and reduce the amount of money in circulation. For the moment, businesses seem reassured that the Uguia's redenomination will fight inflation.
It's good for us. Prices will go down. Before you were told 10 or 20,000 for a product. From now on, we'll tell you 800 or 700.
Mauritania's revamp of its legal tender comes on the heels of a €136 million loan from the IMF. The African country's public debt has risen to 72% of GDP after years of low growth, attributed to a plunge in iron ore prices in recent years.
Talking Stocks is after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Time now for Talking Stocks. 47 stocks traded today, of which 21 advanced, 17 declined, and 9 traded firm. The main JC index advanced 567 points, to close at 289,000. The junior index advanced by 2 points, to close at 2,700 points. Over 12 million units traded, valued at more than $106 million on the Jamaican dollar market. And on the US dollar market, over 2,200 units traded, valued at more than $470 US. Wisynco Group, with over 5 million units changing hands, accounted for 45% of the market volume. Victoria Mutual Investments was second with over 2 million units trading. Cable and Wireless, with over 1 million units, accounted for 14% of the market volume, crossing the floor. Caribbean Cream was the top advancer, up $1 to close at $6, followed by Victoria Mutual Investments, up 68 cents to close at $3.92. And Cable and Wireless up 19 cents to close at $1.39. The main decliners were Supreme Ventures, losing $1.27 to close at $10, followed by Siboney Group, down 4 cents to close at 37 cents, and Lasco Manufacturing down 27 cents to close at $3.51. In foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar gained on all three of its majorly traded foreign counterparts today. The US dollar ended the day selling for $124.76, losing 24 cents to the Jamaican currency. The Canadian lost 58 cents to sell for $96.81. And the British pound lost $1.07 to trade at $165.96 on average. And that's the news for this evening. But before we go, a recap of our top story. No government agency has taken responsibility yet for the traffic pileup on the Palisadoes Strip yesterday evening. The chaos resulted in several passengers missing their flights out of the Norman Manley International Airport. The traffic jam was caused by patrons attending the New Year's Day party Sands. Thanks for watching. For more content, please visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Andrew Laidley. Pleasant viewing.